When I said at the beginning of the hike that this was Virginia's most Instagrammed hiking trail, we are at Virginia's most Instagrammed hike, the Devil's Bathtub. I wasn't joking. I don't know if it's actually the most posted on Instagram. I have no way of knowing that. But it is a trail that has kind of gone viral. And the way it did is a little bit funny, because it's actually nothing more than a case of mistaken identity. So I saw on a local's blog that in the early 2010s, the Devil's Bathtub was not a popular hike at all. People knew about it, they'd heard of it. Not that many people came out here. But then for some reason, an image started going around on Pinterest as well as Reddit that had two scenes side by side. One was the Devil's Bathtub here in Virginia, and the other was another swimming type hole in Ohio, in Hocking Hills State Park, that shares the same name. It's also called the Devil's Bathtub. Now I don't know if the poster was just, they didn't know, it was a mistake, but it doesn't really matter because they credited both of those photos as being the Devil's Bathtub here near Fort Blackmore in Virginia. No disrespect to the Devil's Bathtub here, but the Hocking Hills photo was much better. It was much more magical. It was a bridge going over the swimming hole. There was kind of like a sparkly glint in the water. And I think that was probably the picture that most people saw and got excited about this place. Before you know it, the media was all over it. They saw that it was kind of trending on Pinterest, trending on Reddit. So they wanted a piece of the pie, of course. They wanted to be the first person to discover something. So the Weather Channel in 2015 ranked the Devil's Bathtub as its top hidden gem in Virginia. Of course, if the Weather Channel does that, many other sites are to follow. And soon clickbait travel sites had their talons into the Devil's Bathtub like crazy, showing the wrong pictures and everything, of course. The first time I ever saw the Devil's Bathtub was actually a post that one of my friends had shared on Facebook. This was when I was living in Houston, Texas, so I had no real interest in visiting Virginia. I knew Virginia was beautiful, but I wasn't actively looking for places to go there. But the share was from a clickbait travel site, I believe it was called Only in Your State, that basically posts clickbaity titles, makes things that are interesting in states sound much, much more interesting than what they actually are. So I think the title was something along the lines of Magical Oasis in Northwest Virginia that you have to see. Something like that. So I clicked through the pictures and I thought, wow, that's really cool. Of course, never thinking I would go there, visit it. Didn't really think anything of it, didn't even look where it was. Then a few months later, we just happened to be in Kingsport, Tennessee for a friend's wedding. And we were staying at a house that she was renting. And there was a travel brochure on the table. And what was in there? There it was, the Devil's Bathtub. And of course, I'm all excited now. Didn't know it was that close, and so we have to go see it. So we did a few years ago. And honestly, that time, it looked the best. The 3 other times that I've been out here to see it, not been great, to say the least. I personally kind of think the bathtub itself is a little bit overrated. It's a little bit overhyped. And you have to be honest. If you're really honest with yourself, it is. People overhype it. I'm not saying it's a bad hike. It's a beautiful hike. But again, you have to get it just right. You have to make sure the water levels are perfect. Yeah, so I would say it is a little bit overhyped. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me through this whole video. I hope you liked the stories. I hope you liked the history and the popularity of how the Devil's Bathtub kind of got its fame. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off. And as always, stay hiking and stay safe. See ya.